This is Jacob down here at KKSM. I've got something special for you today. I've got two of my close friends, Fabian Garcia and Raymond Skinner, leads of their new band, Alphabet Soup, here to play their debut EP, self-titled Alphabet Soup. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
We're doing pretty good.
So what brings you in today?
We're here to talk about our debut EP. We put it out last summer. And
or I guess this summer, technically.
Yeah, I guess this summer, yeah. And we just want to talk about it and give our thoughts about it after the fact. It's been a pretty long time since. And maybe share some extra things.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You want to start off with that first song?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Disappointed, their radio edit. Let's get that started up for you. That was Disappointed by Alphabet Soup. What was your process for that song?
So I think this is like one of the last songs that we started working on, but I think it was also the first that we finished. Disappointed, in my eyes, is supposed to be like, I don't know, kind of like a gut punch in a sense. It's like, or like a soft blow. I think the rest of the album is very much more abrasive and it's a lot more colorful and interesting. And I wanted a song that was short and kind of put you in like this mood that would change over the course of the rest of the EP. And I think that that's like, in a very low sense, is what Disappointed is, at least to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I think it was a good idea to not really have so much in terms of like a lyrical concept, because I think it's just supposed to be like an opener to sort of the EP. And so sonically, I think it's supposed to reach that peak a little bit more than just like the lyrics per se.
We recorded, so all like the vocals that you hear was recorded on like a cell phone. I called Raymond through my phone and I just put it up to my microphone, and that's how we got like that kind of like weird like boxy sound for our voices. I pitched it down. There's like a lot of like really strange choices that I made for the song personally, just so that I could make sure that we were getting like an authentic piece that was, you know, interesting, but also like would kind of put you in like this like weird mood and like headspace. I don't know. Disappointed. It was actually really fun to make, and it was like one of the first times, or one of many moments that we would have while we were like creating the project, where one of us would just go, "Yeah, this is it. Like this is like our sound. This is how we're gonna like progress on."
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. And what are your inspirations for this album?
For this song in particular, I don't think we had any like true inspiration for this song. I think that there's like, we actually for this song takes a lot from like other stuff that we've made, or stuff that I've made especially too. Like I've done solo work in the past, and this song I took a lot of sounds from that, and I just like wanted to, I don't know, put it up and like kind of reformat it into something interesting and new. We could talk about inspirations for like literally hours. That we have like a playlist on Spotify that like showcases everything, but for this song, nothing in particular, other than like ourselves and just trying to be like kind of funny.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, in terms of like a lyrical perspective too, I mean, we didn't really have all that much too, and so it's just supposed to be almost sort of like an instrumental, like in your face kind of thing. And so that was sort of like the main idea for this track specifically, which funny enough sort of came towards like the end, when we sort of had inspirations for other songs that we ended up turning into songs like later on the EP. And then this one sort of came last as like we want like something that's sort of going to put you in the headspace of the EP, like as soon as it starts. You know, it's sort of just like it's here kind of thing.
It actually has dawned on me. We did take one thing for this song. We took the intro, so how do you want to start? We took that piece from a song from Duckworth called Mitchell.
That's
yeah.
That's
We took
right.
we took that. We took the intro part because we thought it was like really funny. And I always thought it was hilarious. Actually, it was going to be more like derivative than how it was, but I mean, we changed it kind of towards the end. It was like a last minute decision. But yeah, I guess that is one thing that inspired the song. It's the intro. But I mean, for the most part, it's just like a classic like electronic track, and that was like the original sound we were gonna go for. I came to Ray. I was like, oh, let's just do electronic music because I've never done that, and yet we've only done like hip hop before, and I've produced for hip hop artists. So I thought it would be cool if I was just like, oh, let's do a electronic, and this was like the
very early stage
of that, and it was completed very late.
Mm-hmm.
And was this track entirely digital, or did you use some instruments for this as well?
Most of our music is digital, for the most part. I think
there's some people that we might collaborate on in like the future that involve like more instrumental palettes in terms of like real life instruments and whatnot. But this EP specifically was a lot more digital, just because we didn't really know what the sound was going to be initially going into it. It was just kind of us feeling stuff out and sort of trying to figure out what we wanted to do, I guess, sonically to set us apart from other people that we were taking stuff from, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this EP, it's like it's a lot of things. It's a lot of unlicensed samples. To be honest with you, it is a lot of like
That's
inspiration.
true.
It's a lot of taking. It's a lot of like just sounds that you wouldn't think are like available to be music, and we just kind of turn it in there. In this song specifically, there's a sample from a movie, and it's reversed, and then it has like 3 filters on it, and that's like how you get the kind of sound effect.
What movie?
I don't want to say. Because they're going to come for me afterwards if I say it. They're going to come for me if I say it. They're going to know. But like I said, it's also a lot of stuff that I've used before, or like stuff that I was like, oh, let's repurpose this, let's reuse it, and it's like been retooled, and we thought it was interesting. And I think it works for like our sound in particular. I think it works for what we were trying to do initially.
What would you describe your sound as?
You know, that's kind of a question that we've gone back and forth on quite a bit, and even especially recently too.
In real life, especially when people ask us.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough question to sort of narrow it down necessarily to a single genre. I guess if you really wanted to put it in one, it would be sort of like a alt hip hop maybe, but like more electronic based, I would say.
Especially this EP is like
this EP I would say
electronic.
Yeah, this EP
like,
specifically has more of that sort of tone where it's mixing electronic music aspects with more hip hop oriented stuff, and it's a little bit darker too. So that's where that alt hip hop sort of comes into.
I do think when you try to fit it like into a genre, it does like lose like a little bit of like its sparkle or like its interest or its spectacle, I guess you could say, because then you kind of are limiting not necessarily us, but like the music to what it could be. We don't want to make music that people are like, because there are people out there who exist who are like, oh, I like everything but like country, or like I'll listen to everything but like hip hop,
Yeah.
And I think it's wrong to group us in with those kinds of artists. Not that we don't love that kind of music, but I think it's kind of wrong to put us in there along with them when we're trying to make things that don't necessarily fit within that section or like vibe or like character. It's unfair to us. I feel like it's also unfair to them. I don't think a lot of artists would want to be grouped up with the kind of music that we make, to be honest with you.
That's true.
But at the same time, it's like that's the kind of beauty of it, in that we want to make something that either you don't like to listen to or that you don't normally listen to. And if that's good for you, then we've kind of been doing our job as like what we like to make for music.
Okay, you want to play that next song?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So this next song is Beth Gibbons, and that'll be starting up right about now. That was Beth Gibbons, perhaps my favorite track. What's that song about?
So first off, just want to give a shout out to Portishead, because that is respond to the question earlier a little bit late. That is one of our biggest inspirations, like ever, for all music, for everything that we do. We love Portishead, and so we kind of dedicated this song to Beth Gibbons, who's the lead singer. But as far as production goes, this song borrows heavily from a song off of their album, third album, called Machine Gun. We follow kind of the structure. I don't know if we follow the same tempo, but we follow kind of the same structure and concept. I wanted to know if it was possible for us to do like a fully percussive track.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we could test it by doing that, and yeah. So that's kind of what the song is. It's like a fully percussive track, and I thought it was like a cool experiment for us to try, and for me to try like vocally. I'm not the most in-depth singer. I'm not a singer, I guess, like traditional. So I learned by, teaching myself essentially by singing along with other songs, trying to find my voice. And that's what this song that's what's beautiful about this kind of song, is that like there's not a lot to work with. It's just a straight drum beat, and you just kind of have to work with the empty space that you're given. But as far as writing goes, I'm not the one who wrote the song, actually. Ray writes pretty much every song that we work on, and I will sometimes edit it. But I think Ray can give a little more insight into what he thinks the meaning is, at least.
Yeah. It was funny because I think initially going into just making the band in general, I was sort of expecting to do more of like production work, because I had never really written anything, especially like lyrics or anything like that, because I've never really been like that strong of a writer or anything like that. And I always sort of made the comparison of like rapping or just writing lyrics as sort of it's like musical poetry essentially. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't really think I'm that good at it, but I'll give it a shot. And then Fabian came to me and essentially wanted me to write a majority of the songs for this project that we were going to do. And I said, okay, I mean, I don't really have that much experience doing that, but I'll give it a shot. And the thing that was sort of interesting about it, I mean, this song was kind of easier though, because I really took a lot from her cadence and from her lyricism, because a lot of her songs are very
they're very like vulnerable.
Yeah, they're really vulnerable, but they're also rather ambiguous, and so you can kind of find multiple meanings in a lot of them, because they're pretty vague, and there's sort of a lot going on. You can sort of narrow them down to sort of what they are actually probably about, and most of them have to do with a lot of her previous relationships. But with how her vocabulary is and with how she structures a lot of her songs, it's almost like a free thought, and it's just like a stream of consciousness that she's just able to unleash on like every song that they do. And I think that's kind of insane. And so I sort of took to that and was like, okay, well, how can we put our spin on that and sort of make our version of that, since we were so inspired by the song straight from the get-go. Especially, I remember Fabian wanted to do that song pretty much from the start.
For like a year.
Yeah.
Like I had that. The instrumental was created like as soon as I heard the original Machine Gun, and I was like, oh, I need, like, we need to do this. Like we need to figure out how to interpolate this into the album or anything. And any future project, anything, like, because we borrow so heavily. We like love Portishead so much, and like me and Ray and all of our friends, we really bonded over like this record, and we find it to be very like inspirational, and that was kind of like where it comes from. And it's kind of cool because like they get like their own song, because this song borrows like nothing else. It just borrows from like Portishead and like their ideas and concepts. Yeah. As far as my interpretation of the song, because I think the beautiful thing about our project is that we both interpret everything differently, so we kind of use that to our advantage. In my personal finding in singing the lyrics and how I was kind of singing it, I always interpreted the song to be kind of like political in a sense. And I think that's kind of what I wanted Ray to like write about, because we would give each other like ideas. Sometimes very specific, sometimes not. But I've always interpreted the song as very political and like kind of having a sort of like democratic, but also like, what am I trying to say? Like tyrannical vibe about it. And that's kind of like the idea that I always got from it. So that's how I sing it, essentially.
Are there some political themes in the song?
Yeah, I think because I think that song specifically, especially a lot of the songs off of that album that they did, I think there are some more political undertones in that, because that was many years after their debut, and so they have essentially established themselves. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing that I found about a lot of artists, especially from that time, is that as they sort of go on, there sort of tends to be more and more of these sort of like political undertones in a lot of their writing, especially, and so they tend to focus on that rather than a lot of the stuff that they were writing about, say, in like the 90s or like even the early 2000s per se, even if there's hints of it maybe. But this album especially had sort of an underlying political tone to it, and so I wanted to bring that to this as well. And it's not only this song. I found that I actually sort of wrote a little bit more in that sense for at least 2 or 3 of the songs off of this EP, I want to say. And this one specifically, I wanted to make it a little bit more vague. So I don't know. I encourage anybody to sort of look for their own meaning in terms of what they think the song means, but I think the chorus sort of gives you like a general idea of sort of feeling a little bit isolated. This song, I wanted to make it feel sort of like isolation almost, like you're sort of chasing something that you won't necessarily get in the end, but you'll chase for it anyways, just for like the longing of it, or running for the crown, like Fabian sings in the chorus. And so that's sort of what I wanted to bring for this track specifically. And then obviously the Portishead influence was really big on that, and a lot of Beth's writing. So
It's funny because you mentioned Portishead, and I have no idea who they are. And I'm just sitting here feeling really uncultured because you're talking about all this like political undertone and stuff, and I'm like, who are they?
They're essentially
Portishead is like them. So it's Portishead, Tricky, and then who else?
Massive Attack.
Massive Attack are like the forefathers of trip hop, which is a genre that me and Ray absolutely adore, we love, and that we borrow a lot of sounds and concepts from. But Portishead is probably our favorite. I love Tricky. I love Massive Attack, but Portishead is probably our favorite because we love Beth so much, and she's such a fantastic singer.
I agree.
And Portishead is essentially how, like I said, it's like one of those moments where me and Ray just kind of looked at each other and we were like, okay, like we know where we're going. We know what the sound is going to be. We know where things are going to lead to. And it was kind of beautiful figuring that out and like using other people to help us do that, whether they knew it or not. I think you know what I was thinking about the other day? I was thinking like, do we even have permission to use the woman's name?
It's not slanderous.
I don't
I mean, it's
know.
not slanderous at all. We praise the hell out of this woman.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
true. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny because I see a lot of like the parallels that the reason why they even started making music in the first place was because they're the guy who plays keyboard in their band, I forgot his name, but the guy who plays keyboard in their band is like he was really inspired by a lot of the sample work that was going on in rap music and early like hip hop music in the 90s. And so he sort of was really interested in how people like Dr. Dre were sampling songs and doing a lot of this other stuff where they would mix all of these sort of jazz or funk influences, but then adding rap music over that. And you can see that in a lot of like NWA's work, obviously early on, just a lot of like 90s rap influence as soon as that was emerging at the time. And so he sort of took that concept of production and sort of brought that to almost this, I guess at the time, like avant-garde, jazzy sort of orchestration, because a lot of their music is, especially on their first album, is just a lot of samples.
It is,
and it doesn't have like it doesn't really have like that hip hop, in your face kind of flair to it. It's very subtle and it's very sonically it has a lot of depth compared to some of like the earliest hip hop that was coming out, where it was just samples and then rap over this beat and then that was it for like 3 to 4 minutes. Whereas with this, there's a lot of, they're biggest live performance is when they're performing with an orchestra, in 1997, and they're performing with like a full orchestra along with them, and then Beth is singing live and everything like that. And so the orchestration has a lot more depth than, say, what they're inspired by. And so I found that to be sort of what we were going for, where we're very inspired by hip hop and a lot of that, a lot of subgenres underneath that, like rap or like alt hip hop and funk and whatnot. But sort of that orchestration from Portishead really inspired me to sort of be like, oh, hey, like this is really, like I haven't really heard anything like this before. And I didn't discover them until about like last year too.
Yeah, like a year or
so
two ago.
It was sort of just this wave where I sort of got like really fascinated with them. And so, and then looking into Beth's lyrics after I had been listening to them for a while, and just that sort of just added, it was like a cherry on top, where it was just like, oh my God, her lyricism is just so insane, and how she's able to paint all of these really beautiful pictures, and her writing process is just how it's like a stream of consciousness. There isn't really any structure to the way that she's singing at all, which for hip hop isn't supposed to make any sense, but in a way it works for exactly what they're trying to go for. And there wasn't really any blueprint for them at the time. So to see that, and then for us to sort of use a lot of that inspiration for this song specifically was a big factor for us.
So we're approaching the 25-minute mark, and I'm sure there's some people out there that want to know where they can find you online. You want to plug some of your socials? Spotify?
Sure. Yeah. So our Instagram is _alphabet .soup.
_alphabet.soup.
We cannot get alphabet soup, sadly. We cannot get the full thing. That is, we blame Instagram for that.
Yeah, maybe one.
On YouTube, we're also alphabet soup. We don't have too many videos right now, but that could change in the future. We'll
But
see.
you did just release a music video, did you not?
We did. We released a
did.
music video for the 4th song on this record, which we'll talk about when we get to
we'll
that.
talk about that when we get to it, and that'll be That's a Lie, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We can get to the... Yeah, we can start talking about the song. We can literally go about Portishead for
Go
like...
as long as you want.
We can talk about Portishead, I mean, for like hours, and how much they've like inspired us and like propelled us to go.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. Well, I guess that'll get us to their next song. One of their most interesting sounds, in my opinion. This is Replicant. Let me get that started for you. So that was Replicant, and very Blade Runner, right? Is that the case?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
very
indeed.
Blade Runner.
It essentially, even the title itself is essentially just taking straight from the original Blade Runner.
It's a lot of
Replicant.
references we have on this EP. What's funny
That's
is
true.
what's funny is me and Raymond argued so much about like what the title of the song is going to be, because we do titling last usually, unless it has to do with the song. But or unless it's like a lyric from the song. And we argued a lot over what the title should be, what it should like sound like, or anything like that. And I was just like, I don't really like Replicant, but like, because it's a little too on the nose. We were trying to be like a little sly with it, like, and say like robot or something. But it's like, oh, what's the difference? To be honest with you,
that's kind of true. I feel like, I don't know, because with the word replicant, it seems, if you don't get the reference, then you kind of have to actually like look for it. And so, but if you do, then I mean, obviously, like it's right there, And so anybody who's even seen it or is like a huge fan of it will be like, oh, I know exactly like what that is supposed to be.
Are you calling me out because I asked if it was Alien? That was probably not my proudest moment recently. I mean, that film like 3 times now.
I mean,
we've seen it plenty of times.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, I've watched it
plenty
with
of
you.
times.
Yeah. And we first off, we love Blade Runner. We love the whole. We love the franchise. Yeah.
Sucks he's not keeping it up anymore though.
That's true. That's true.
Apparently, he was all mad about people not watching Last Duel because we're so lost in our phones. Apparently.
No, we are. And it makes sense.
Yeah,
we are. I've been lost in my phone all year.
That's not why we didn't see the movie.
Although there was, I think we all saw the announcement from Denis Villeneuve where he's going to be doing the 2001 remake or something like that. Where they just announced that after Dune Part 2, Denis Villeneuve was going to do because 2001 is based off of a book, and so he's going to do his own rendition of the book. that Stanley Kubrick.
The poor man's
did.
got the next like 7 years ahead of him. To be
He
honest.
does.
He's got,
He
like,
does
he's got
really.
his whole itinerary filled out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But good for him though.
Yeah.
So many opportunities now.
But Replicant was a song. The instrumental I had, kind of like Beth Gibbons, I had done for like pretty much a year. This song, the inspiration is not just Blade Runner, but it's also Seb Deliza. Seb Deliza is a beautiful singer, a really astounding, like interesting woman. She actually borrows a lot from like Björk and Portishead too, especially on her newest album, Shebrang. But this is from, I think it's her first album. We didn't sample it, but we kind of took a lot of concepts from her song Human. I mean, you can interpret that song how you like, but our song is kind of a little bit about like what it means to be human, and kind of like it interpolates a lot of like the Blade Runner language, and like, especially like the last phrase that Raymond kind of wanted to end on. We were saying short circuit race. Like we thought it was kind of, it was a little tongue in cheek. There's some tongue in cheek references, but there's a lot of like things in there that we kind of hide, and like especially a lot of the production. I make my voice kind of sound like a robot. I add a lot of like layers on both ears to kind of give you like a sense of unease and like weariness. We added a very famous scream. Cannot say where the scream is from.
Yes, you can.
Cannot say where the scream is from, but we added a very famous scream to the song because I always wanted to use it because I believe The Weeknd uses the same one. And
Well, if they sampled it, you can sample it. You can say where it's from.
we never got a.
Well,
they have permission.
Yeah.
We didn't get permission.
The Weeknd has a little
okay.
bit more money than we do. So
Yeah, a little bit. So
a tiny bit.
So but we use a famous scream. I do some whispering in the song, which is like one of my favorite like textures to add to music, because I've done it before in plenty of songs, and I think it's really interesting because it kind of like tickles the ear, but it also kind of makes it a little atmospheric and like creepy. The song is kind of supposed to be a little horrorcore, to be honest with you, and that's kind of like the idea that we were going for. Not like in your face, but like kind of like slow, and like could give you a sense of unease. I think I added there's like a bottle cracking sound effect at the beginning, which can kind of sound like bones, and I thought that was really fun and like cool and interesting and like unique to add.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing because I had written it. I think that was like one of the songs where I kind of struggled trying to figure out what I really wanted it to mean per se, and so I think eventually I just started writing just about this one has a little bit more of like that isolation thing that I mentioned previously, but this one especially, it was sort of like what Fabian said, like sort of trying to figure out what it really means to sort of be human and figuring out sort of like emotion and whatnot. This one I initially wanted to tackle sort of like social media and how it's, we're all like robots, like addicted to this thing or whatever. But that really, I sort of like I guess walked away from that a little bit. And then I think once I had like the first verse written, it sort of came to me and I was like, oh, you know what, it's kind of like Blade Runner, and so I sort of took the concept of that and sort of the theme of like what it means to be human from Blade Runner itself, and so I sort of paralleled the two, and I sort of just put that theme into the song when I finished writing it. And then I remembered that short circuit race to the finish line that sort of came after I had this sort of realization where I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting because that's really what that movie is about. And so I wanted to explore that, especially for this song, I think.
I think in our eyes, one of the scariest concepts, going back to like the horror themes, it is like that theme of like what does it mean to be human, and I think that's like something that we want to we'd like to tap into, because it is a scary concept. It's probably one of the scariest thought experiments you can do on yourself. Is like, what if you aren't human? What if you are only pretending? What if a lot of things? And
I almost just used the word sus. I wish it didn't pop into my head. I've been corrupted. Sorry for the 10,000 viewers that just tuned out the second I said that.
No, but like that's kind of the idea. It's like, what does it really mean to be human? And it's frightening to think about that. It's frightening to force yourself to put yourself in that light and analyze yourself under that sort of idea and theme. Because, well, I mean, not a lot of people want to think about that. You know, not a lot of people find it comforting to contemplate your own, like, banality or anything like that. And that's kind of, that's where the song really comes from. And that's where that's not necessarily the viewpoint I had when I was producing it, because we wrote and produced these very far apart. You know,
What's the spectrum of this album? How long have you been working on it? I feel like I haven't asked that yet.
This EP, you could argue this EP has been like a year and a half in the making.
Okay.
You could argue that based on the time frame of like when the instrumentals were made and that. But I didn't know what Alphabet Soup was until early 2021. Neither did Ray.
Mm-hmm.
So we could say that this album really took shape. We started really working on it in the summer of this year.
Yeah, because I know Fabian he came to me with a lot of the production, and he came to me with a lot of like the beats and instrumentals that we ended up using for like a couple of the songs here, where I was like, oh, you know what? I mean, yeah, because this sort of fits the vibe that we were going for,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think this one specifically was one of those, or was this one like the new one that you made?
This
'Cause
one,
I think
this
was
one
rather
did not
new.
change. Really,
Yeah, this one didn't really change
the original
that much.
instrumental. The original instrumental and the one that I made like over a year ago, they really didn't change much. It was minor mixing adjustments that I made, a couple sound effects. I just added a little bit of pizzazz. The whole middle section, I guess you could say, is new. But you know, the album was the song was always meant to be like this, and I kind of like to think of it as like it just kind of came together. Like at the end, it formed itself.
Yeah, I always thought you kind of went a little nuts on like the production for this one specifically, compared to especially like a lot of the rest of them, because there's like some like very like behind the scenes like sampling going on in this song especially, and then also a lot of the production choices are kind of like really out there, especially once you get to this point in like the EP, and so it's almost like a mood switch going into like the final two, you know.
And that's why Raymond put it in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
That's why it's like kind of placed in the middle. It's like a weird like interlude-y kind of song, but like we like fun interludes, not like weird boring skits. You know, so
skits are cool though.
I mean, skits are fine, you know, but it's like it breaks up the pacing in like an EP.
Yeah.
When it's just like 5 songs.
Especially when it's 5
That's
tracks.
true.
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
I've always liked the Chinese restaurant skit in the Fugees album.
Oh,
That's one of my
yeah.
favorite
Oh my God.
skits.
I will say though, like, because I love Mad Villainy, and I love like what MF Doom and Madlib do, and so I think a lot of those skits are really interesting, mainly because they add sort of a little bit more texture to their albums especially, and so those are like fine, but I guess for this EP specifically, or I think for EPs in general, I think it's a little dumb to sort of just throw in like a skit or two when you only have like so many tracks that you're really releasing to the public and whatnot. And so I feel like a skit kind of breaks the continuity, I guess, of sort of just, you know, what you're trying to present, you know, because it almost feels like a little bit of like a wasted track in a sense, you know, especially since you only have so much time and so many songs. You know, most EPs are only like 4 to 5 songs to begin with.
Yeah.
So I feel like just using one of those for like a minute song that doesn't really have much to do other than just like a small snippet of like a story, I guess, you know, you could easily put that towards like the end of a song for like 20 to 30 seconds or something like that, and it would fit the same purpose, in my opinion.
See, I feel that albums in general, like in the past couple of years, have gotten too short. Like, I miss the 6-minute songs.
You know, that's you are right though.
That's
like
true.
Objectively, that is true. I read a study, or like I read like I don't know what it was some article. It was talking about how albums are getting shorter. I think that's kind of cool though. I think it's not cool in the Pink Pantherist kind of set, where it's like 16 songs that are like 1 minute long, and it's like a 30-minute album or whatever.
Oh man.
Like I don't think we like that. But I really love like the Kanye West style, the 7-track, 30-minute long or like 23-minute long album where it's just like banger after banger after banger, like Kitsy Ghost or like even Ye, or pretty much anything he made that year. KTSE, what's the
Pusha T's album that he worked on.
You know, anything like we think that's really cool, and it's really, I think it's, for us, it's always going to be more about the quality than the quantity. We'll put out a 7-track album if we feel like it, if we think it's good enough, you know, or if we want to put out more. It's just kind of how we want to continue. It's not about limiting ourselves. It's about opening up the creative freedom and about, like, you know, pushing out a product, maybe not a product, but like an album that we really love and that we would love to listen to over and over again. And that's how I think we kind of feel about this record.
Yeah.
So.
I think the other thing, too, that has sort of, like, emerged from that, too, is that people will drop these like, you know, 8 to 10, like, quote-unquote short albums and whatnot, and then just so that, like, the label can sort of set up another rollout for, like, say, the deluxe or, like, a part, like a B-side or something like that. That way it's almost as if you're releasing 2 albums, even though those tracks aren't necessarily supposed to fit with the album as, like, a whole. They're just sort of these extra tracks to sort of keep the hype going, which I guess is fine if you just have just so much to go with, you know, because I feel like that, because The Weeknd kind of did that, and I think some of those bonus tracks especially, I mean, he, for that all of last year especially, it was just, you know, song after song every new month. It's like, oh, you know, we've got this remix for this song off of the album, or oh, there's this new single for the deluxe version that now has a music video coming out on this day, kind of thing. And it's just like this constant pace that just keeps going, whereas I think sort of the counteract to that is just like, oh, okay, here's like 7 or 8 tracks and they're all amazing, and the artist truly believes that these are like the only songs that belong on this project, and maybe they'll release like the B-sides or something like later on in their career if they feel like it.
We'll do a Rick Rubin cut. We'll do a Rick Rubin cut where like we have 3 hours of content and we cut it down to literally how many songs? Like 10 songs. We'll do a Yeezus, and then we'll actually follow through with like a Yeezus part 2.
Yeah.
If we were to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I think now's the time for the next song. And I think the day they finally break into the mainstream, not necessarily the mainstream because you guys don't want to be into the mainstream, right?
We don't care.
We'll
be anything.
But when you guys finally make it big, I feel like this song is going to be your claim to fame.
It already is.
Yeah, it already kind of is.
I feel like
so
it's kind
far.
of immortalized
fan favorite.
itself. It is a fan favorite, yeah, and that's why I'm excited to play it. This will be That's a Lie, coming up right now. That was That's a Lie. Also, let's talk about how weird the rules are with censorship in radio. Like, we can use the word bitch, but we can't use other words, and I'll never understand it.
Can't use the P word.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, the censoring process for this was fun. But I think this and Replicant are the only 2 songs that we swear on this EP.
Mm.
And we don't.
Dirty of you.
Yeah, we don't. I can only speak for myself, but I don't write a lot of cuss words in my lyrics. And I tried not to with this one because that wasn't like the point. But we still use the P word. I use the P word, and that was enough to get censored.
In my defense, this song was sort of the reason why I cuss so much on it is mainly just because this was supposed to be like me pointing shots at sort of like rappers or these, you know, hip hop artists.
Before we talk about the meaning, if you do not want this entire song spoiled, because we're gonna give you like the true meaning of this song, like the one that we actually agree on, leave now if you don't want this song completely ruined for you.
That's hard. But yeah,
continue.
So the true meaning, no, okay. But I guess from like, especially because this is the only song off of the EP where like I actually make an appearance, at least lyrically. And so this one was sort of, I wanted it to be like my shot at just sort of the industry, I guess, in a sense, or like other rappers who sort of hype themselves up to, you know, in a lot of their songs, like saying all of these sort of exaggerated stories about like their relationships with like women or going out and partying and all of that stuff and whatnot. And so because I feel like it's kind of getting a little like ridiculous now, and I feel like the industry is really saturated with a lot of that, where like everybody is just starting to essentially kind of just sound the same,
or like copy a lot.
Yeah, or like copying like a lot of other people, and there isn't really a sense of like genuineness. What's the word?
Authenticity.
I guess authenticity. Yeah, that's what it is.
And this is not like our like old-fashioned take like music today sucks, because we love music today. We think it's great. It's just that the song it's making fun of like the industry as a whole. No, not even just rappers. I mean, you can apply the same argument to a lot of like singers in all genres, pop, whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of our response to like not even like lazy songwriting, lazy production, lazy everything. And it's kind of us like making fun of that, but also like simultaneously using it. We both knew before it came out that this would be the fan favorite, because it's the most digestible, it's the easiest to listen to, it's
so catchy.
It's catchy. It's just
catchy.
Weird enough to where like you're okay with it. You're okay with you don't notice like the weird samples that we put in the back, or I put my dog in the back.
Dog sampled in that?
My dog is sampled in the song. You can hear it lightly on 2 parts.
What?
But we always knew this would be the fan favorite, so we kind of had like a Andre 3000 like hey ya kind of moment, where his song is about like is really depressing and sad, but everyone dances to it because it's like, oh, it's a fun instrumental, it's cool. Our song is like we kind of capture the same light in that sense, where like it's about making fun of people who listen to this kind of music and who consume it on a regular basis, and the people who make it, but also making it able to be listened to in that same sense. So when people that's why we love it, or I love it at least, when people say that they this is their favorite, because I'm like, yes, like it like.
That's
we knew it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're obviously we're happy that people like it. We're not making but at the same time it's like we're kind of getting our point across, and that's the beautiful part of this song, which is what at least I love about it.
I feel like when it comes to palates, it definitely is, like you said, the most digestible. Like it's.
This one was probably one of the ones that changed. I guess you could say like the most ish, because he had, first of all, it was a lot slower at the very beginning, just to point that out. But it was a lot slower than this at the very beginning, and I didn't really know where I wanted to go with it initially. And then I think we were in the car one night, and it was around probably like during summer or something like that, and I think we heard it was On Site off of Yeezus.
Yeah.
And that was essentially like the blueprint.
I literally just told Ray, I was like, well, dude, let's just make On Site. I was like, dude, let's just do this. And Raymond's just like, yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
And that's where kind of the song completely changed. I wish I could play you the original, because it's terrible. The original, honestly, it does not sound that good. It was like an instrumental that I made, it's a over a year ago instrumental that I made when it was just kind of, it borrowed heavily from the sample that we do use in the song. It's the drums are really understated. The only cool part is like this kind of like hi-hat that I added in that's like slowed down and pitched up. I think that's the cool part of the song. But I mean, this new one, it's got completely different texture and palette to it, like sonically. We added brand new stuff. We added my dogs, which is like the fun part. We added like really just the catchy chorus, which me and Ray kind of wrote together a little bit. I remember like one night Raymond texted me. He's just like, "Hey, start it like this. Like start the chorus like, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the chorus." It was like, "Watch our backs get paid. That's a lie," and I was like, "Whoa, like that's crazy. That's like crazy good." I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's work with that." So then we just kind of kept that the three-prong phrase, and kind of continued like that, and that's how we like wrote out the chorus. And afterwards, I was like, oh, this is crazy, like this is catchy as heck, and we're gonna keep with that. And so that's kind of how like the chorus manifested itself. It was crazy.
Yeah. And then also going back to the to sort of like the like calling this style of music out while also making, I guess technically, this style of music at the same time. That's sort of like our favorite version of like satire, or like being satirical, is sort of just like placing a lot of these messages about the thing that we're making itself, which I think is kind of funny. And so I feel like, somebody who who will just listen to this song because it's like a banger or something like that will be happy enough with it just because of how it sounds sonically and just because of how hard it goes or whatever. But then somebody who will actually look into the lyrics and will recognize like, oh, this is technically sort of like making fun of the things that I'm saying, in like a lot of the verse and a lot of the verse especially. And so that was where I started writing from, was sort of my verse, because I knew exactly what I wanted the concept of the song to be, and I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about. I just didn't really know how to make it catchy enough. And so I think Fabian gave me it was 2 lines or something like that in the same flow that he does on the chorus, and I was like, oh wait, that's actually really genius. I feel like if we just did that for like the whole chorus, and then we can just change the phrase, but that's a lie will be it'll be like the repeating,
it'll be the motif,
phrase, it'll be like the repeating thing, and then just change everything before that, so it's just it's almost as if you're reading a shopping list, of each different thing that we wanted to talk about during the chorus, because each phrase means sort of the same thing, if not a similar thing, and so that was kind of even more genius in terms of making it catchy, because it's just a repeating motif, and so anything
people
like that is going to be earwormy.
People love
obviously.
that repeating words. Yeah, it is. And
also
part of it's the irony of it, because we're not party people. We're not crazy.
None of us
me
are,
and Ray both, we have crazy anxiety, So it's just we're not these kinds of people. We don't do we don't do drugas, We don't do that kind of stuff. So
you
it's
can
just,
say the word drugs.
I just like saying drugas.
Fair enough.
But we don't do drugas. We don't really partake in that sort of behavior. At least me, especially. I'm known for that. So it's just the irony comes from the fact that it's these 2 just skinny dudes rapping about, the Romans and drinking and drug abuse and just women in that that misogynistic way. It's it's funny because of the irony behind it, and when you listen to it, you're not necessarily noticing that because it kind of sounds hard.
Yeah,
it's funny because if I didn't know you guys and I'd hear the songs, I would think, oh my god, they must do a lot of drugs. And they don't. It's so funny because they're what's that word in the punk scene when they
straight edge?
Straight edge.
Yeah,
there we go.
that's true.
Straight edge kids. Yeah.
That's true.
Raymond only half so, but for me, I'm the full. I'm the embodiment of that phrase.
That's true.
But
that's very true.
But I mean, yeah, it's it's ironic in that way, and also, I mean, if you do look into especially the chorus is where we put a lot of the more subtle, kind of stuff, what's it called, I don't want to give too much away, but it's just
what's the line?
New acts, new slaves. Yeah. That's a lie. It's just
that one's also directly copied from Yeezus too, in a way.
Yeah.
Especially that line.
Yeah, that one is, you can kind of tell. That one is just we're making fun of the people in the industry who get crappy deals and then are forced underneath this awful contract that forces you to make music. The cool thing about me and Ray is that we're not forced to make music. We don't feel obligated to. We do it because we love it and we want to.
Exactly.
And we don't have a label.
You can
We
feel
no
the
label,
passion oozing
independent.
out of that album. Or
Yeah.
EP. I would say album, it's EP.
Yeah.
But same thing, honestly.
Yeah, hopefully people feel that passion and that drive that comes from us because, we really care about that sort of thing, and we're not here to. We don't really make any profit. I don't think we've seen $3, I think, off this album. We've seen $3, I think, off this album from
first dollar.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. We need it.
We've seen I think $3 from SoundCloud or something, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I think I checked last night because I was just curious. I usually check every day, but I check Spotify for artists, and I think we were almost at $8.50 now.
$8.50
on Spotify, yeah on Spotify total streams.
I thought that was sick.
Which is pretty.
That is really impressive because you don't have that many followers on Instagram.
No, we don't.
Or anything.
We really
don't.
There's clean people that are not your friends that are listening to it.
But Raymond and I listen to it a lot. Or not just sorry, we tell people to listen to it a lot.
We're
that's true.
We're very open about us being in the band because we care about it, we love it so much, and we foster that.
It is your child.
We own it. We own it.
That's true.
And that's like kind of the fun part.
The other thing that was really funny too is that like because Spotify for Artists has like their wrapped version too for like artists instead of just for like users and whatnot. And it said that we were in like 4 or 5 different countries or something like
in a
that.
lot of countries.
And I was like, where? Like I don't even know. I know like maybe like one person who would have listened to it in like Canada that was like a relative of mine that might have listened to it, but like 4 different countries, I have no idea.
Did it say what countries they were?
No, it didn't say. It just said that we were in 4 different countries.
I would love it if it was like some Central Asian country. That'd be really cool if they're listening to our
It would
music.
be fun. They have no idea what you're saying, but they just love it.
I think one was like the UK
universal,
at least. So.
Music's a universal language, you know? I don't think you have to understand our lyrics to even get like what you want sonically out of it. I don't listen to a lot of songs for lyrics, to be perfectly honest with you. I love the sonics of music, and that's like, you know, the beautiful part of it. But along with this song, we made a music video to go with it,
which I actually have not seen yet.
Oh, you know,
Feel
it's
free
fun.
to, like,
It's
hit
fun.
me for it. I probably should, considering I am one of your supporters.
That's true.
It's so the music video. So to give a brief description, it's pretty much an eye. It's we have a really good friend. Her name's Rebecca. Shout out to her. She was amazing in it. We basically got her eye, and we filmed it using our friend Alex Paz's camera, $2,000 camera, by the way. And
He does have an expensive camera. Did he use that full body mount thing that he has?
No, we didn't. We had to put it on a tripod. And essentially, it's an eyeball, and it has Raymond and I inside of it, and we're kind of just like dancing and rapping and like singing inside of it. And it's like, so we'll talk about the production afterwards, but the idea for this music video came to me while I had a panic attack in the shower, and I imagined like eyes like staring at me, and like I was, you know, not hallucinating. I don't get it that bad, but like I was just kind of forcing myself to think about like these eyes, and I started having a panic attack in the shower. And afterwards, I was like, you know, I could turn this into something. You know, I have really strong anxiety. Especially with like people and like things like that. Even when I'm alone, it can get bad. So, but I always try to take it and take that fear and the anxiety and try to put it into like my artwork. And that's how a lot of it kind of comes out, especially on this album.
Yeah.
Or this EP.
I'd love to get a quick shout out to Masks for helping us not have to show our entire
exactly.
faces.
I love Masks.
That's true.
I love
Masks.
Masks.
They're wearing theirs right now. It's like a nice little warm hug. Yeah,
It is
feeling
beautiful.
safe.
But yeah, so the music video is just like the eye, and that was where the visual imagery. I really love strong imagery. Me and Raymond are really into black and white right now. That's like our aesthetic that we really are like starting to fall in love with, and that's why a lot of our promo is coming out like
and
that.
when you see those pictures, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. And so we have like a lot of things like that we really like. So I wanted it in black and white, and I came with Raymond to the idea. He's like, "Oh, it's genius. Let's do it." And we did it. We filmed in 2 days of filming, and it went really well. It went really perfect. Like I said, shout out to Rebecca. She was amazing. I held her neck while she did while she like stood still so that we can get like a clear shot of her eye. Alex just sat in the corner. He just let us do what we wanted.
Just watch.
But Alex also edited it. Edited. That's a terrible word.
Yeah.
He edited it.
Edited.
And he did amazing on that. We made him do like 5 different versions before we actually released it. But you know, the music video is like kind of our step in like that sort of industry, because we do, like I said, we do all the work ourselves. Everything, all the promo, all the setting up, all the music videos, pretty much everything is through me and Ray and through our own sensibilities and what we like to create. So that music video was like a part of us proving ourselves, you know, that we can do it, that we are capable, and that, you know, we love doing this, and we live for this kind of art. And hopefully you're going to be seeing a lot more music videos in the future.
Sure we will be.
Produced by us.
And also shout out to Alex again, because he essentially was doing CGI behind the scenes while editing the process. Because
Yeah, pretty much.
He essentially had to overlap us, like actually being in the eye itself.
He had to motion track it.
Yeah.
The whole
I cannot
thing.
believe I haven't seen this yet.
You had to motion track it. I think it's an amazing video.
I'm
it's
going to watch it
incredibly-
obviously after this.
Yeah.
Now I have no choice.
I think it's
Feel
like
I have to.
we want to do something like kind of professional, and we think
Yeah.
this is pretty sick. I mean, I love what's it called? I love like one takes too, and it kind of feels like a one take.
Oh
so,
yeah, that's
so
true.
like we love one takes. We love all that like, you know, cheesy cinema stuff that like it's like really highbrow and interesting, and we love doing that. And That's what the music video is. The music video is like this really strange. It has nothing. Ironically, doesn't really have much to do with the song. It's just like, because I don't always think of music videos as relating to the song, at least in my eyes when I was like thinking it up. Mm-hmm. And even the storyboard that I made for it after I had my panic attack was somewhat different than what the final video was.
Didn't know you storyboarded this. You still have those papers?
I still have the papers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're in my house somewhere. But like, I immediately, as soon as I got out of the shower, I was like, I need to write this whole thing down, because like it was just like this really like strong like images like burned into my brain. You know, and that's kind of what happens. But
it was a very jarring thing to watch from behind the camera too, because here's Fabian essentially just like holding her neck for about like an hour because we did about like 10 takes.
We did a lot of takes.
It was pretty.
We did a Fincher amount of takes for this project.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny, but you know, anybody who would have like opened our garage door would have been like, what is happening right now?
Shout out to Raymond's garage. We filmed a lot.
It is the spot.
We've recorded like sounds in there too. For like
what type of sounds?
We recorded drums in there. We recorded like banging sounds, like us talking, some extra stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that I wanted to include for later projects.
If we save it.
Yeah, if we saved it, and you know, I've been playing drums for a majority of my life, and then so I used a lot of like my dad's equipment. Shout out to my dad. I used a lot of his equipment that we had in our garage, and I sort of essentially set it up while my parents weren't home, and so we set it up in the garage, and then I had Fabian come over and essentially just like record whatever instruments that I would have thought we needed.
And a crappy microphone on my laptop.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Essentially, which added more to the aesthetic.
But we love that, though.
I was gonna say,
we love those kinds of like
quality
weird
of the mic.
choices. Exactly. Yeah, we love those kinds of choices. I mean, Weather Day, another project that I love, his album "Come In," was literally recorded on a hands-free microphone on his headset. Like, I don't know how you make something so amazing on that, but that's what they did, and it was perfect.
Yeah, and a lot of artists nowadays too, because I know Kanye does this. A lot of people will just record verses on their phone and then just like send them in, and then that just ends up being the recording that they end up going with, which I think is super cool. And it's kind of crazy how technology can just do that just straight from your phone, you know, and it's like almost mixed.
Kenny Beats made that song with Dominic Fike. He made
Which one?
So the guitar, I forget what it's called already.
Wow.
It's like, why you not there for me? Why you break bread with me?
Okay, yeah.
Phone numbers. That's what it's called.
Phone numbers. Yeah.
The guitar on that is literally like it's a crappy like fair guitar, I think he said, and it's just like he's just strumming it like really fast, and he recorded it from his phone, and he layered it with some extra guitar on top. And even like what's it called? Even the little guitar, like when you hold the fret, and you go like you slide it. That's even like fake. that's from like the DAW. So it's just like little things like that. We want to like tap into that and like kind of trick people and make it like kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we play your last song of the EP?
Of course.
Yeah.
So this is Memento Mori. For some reason, I can't remember what it sounds like. So here's a refresher.
The Weekend.
Yes.
I would like to apologize for some of the hearing loss I might have induced. That bass was a little bit heavy for a little bit there. Didn't realize it was going way over that red line, but we're back, and hopefully you can still hear us.
So, Memento Mori, just to start it off, it's a Latin term. It's supposed to refer to the fear of death. And
Do you have that?
Memento Mori. Do I have that? I don't know. I think Alphabet does.
Alphabet does.
You know, when so I'm the one who pretty much did the bulk of this song. Raymond actually is in it, on a good portion of it. His voice is in there, but Memento Mori is it's a very, very personal song. It's it's kind of macabre. It's existential. It deals with like a lot of like ethereal concepts that I find really interesting about life and people, and like how people see the world. I don't think the song is necessarily about me. Whenever I write, I'm writing to a character. So I think that in this case, it's Alphabet, which is like the stage names on Alphabet, Raymond's Soup. So like that's kind of the stage names we've taken up. When I'm writing, though, it's not meant to be Fabian. It's meant to be like the character. And so in this case, I'm narrating for a person who is afraid of dying. Or more is like realizing that they're going to die, or that they, that their time on Earth is limited, and them kind of dealing with it in this sort of destructive and scared way, in the sense that like they feel trapped, and they keep repeating, I'm gonna die, because it's like it's true, it's a fact to them, and it's like become astonishingly clear. Through what means, I'm not completely sure. It could just be like the basic like human understanding that comes later in life. I think we've all had moments like that. And I think that it really comes through in this song. It's abrasive, it's kind of scary, it's loud, it's very bassy. And I mean that's like the point. It's in your face.
Anxiety inducing.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. That's the point. And Raymond made it the last track very purposely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when it ends, you're just like there in silence, and it's kind of jarring.
I made sure to add a little bit of silence at the end. There's a couple pops. That's me leaving the microphone, and it kind of sits for like a second, then it ends, and that's kind of the point. We kind of want to leave you speechless at the end, kind of, and like because it's just you hear this completely abrasive song for it's only 2 minutes. It's just under 2 minutes, and you're like, oh my gosh, like what's going on, and then done. And that's kind of like the end, and you kind of makes you kind of want to repeat it again. Hopefully, that's kind of the idea. Is like makes you kind of want to experience the whole thing. It's only about 12 minutes, the whole EP, and so it's replayable. It's like interesting, especially that song. It's really easy to listen to.
It is, yeah.
It's probably worth noting. This is my favorite. This is my personal favorite for the EP.
But yeah, I think I don't know how you felt about this song specifically, but I forgot to mention that I think another one of sort of the influences in terms of how the EP sounds sonically, and then even going forward too, is a lot of work done by clipping and whatnot. And so at least in terms
and let's not forget death grips.
Yes. That's true.
Oh yeah,
both
but you
both
guys
of
and
them.
your death grips.
Yes.
This song, I guess you can argue, is the most death grip.
This
one and this one and That's a Lie, but I would say this one is like the most death grippy that we kind of did.
It's an industry term now, by the way.
Yes.
It's I want it to be really abrasive and like loud, and like I kind of try to evoke the similar style with like how I was like screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I scream all the time. I'm a very loud person, but in private, but it was hard to kind of do that for this song because it was just a lot of like I wanted to kind of sound like confused screaming, like kind of like scared and anxious, but also like angry at the same time, and that's kind of what we're getting out of this in Memento Mori, just like with the character that I'm singing under, and but no, Raymond's correct. A lot of clipping, a lot of I would say we love death grips, like that's just off top. Like we love death grips. They've influenced us a lot, and that's kind of like our like thank you.
Yeah.
This song also, if you want to talk about the structure, we can talk about Tyler.
Oh yeah, I guess that's technically true. Well, the other thing too is that just going back to like the theme of it is that I'm like a huge fan of tying what the lyrics are talking about to how the track actually sounds, and so the anxiety and sort of like the panic in the lyricism, especially for this song, you can 100% feel that in the production itself. And so even if you didn't have the lyrics, I mean, like they both play off of each other, like very much so. And so it's an intense, like you wouldn't hear the lyrics over like a piano ballad or something like that. The production choice here is, I think, like pretty much perfect for what the concept of the song actually is and whatnot, and what Fabian was trying to write about for that. And so that's sort of why I really liked it a lot, is going more into that direction, where this one's probably, I would say, maybe even a little bit more horrorcore than Replicant was in a way, but this one's also very very Death Grips inspired as well, similar to That's a Lie, which is I guess Yeezus and Death Grippy as well, but this one was definitely the more abrasive cut that I actually ended up really liking, and the production really helps carry that message across, I think.
Yeah, and I think the structure speaks for that too. So we borrow the structure a lot from Tyler the Creator's song Lumberjack, which came out this year. That's the first single off of his newest project, Call Me If You Get Lost. Fun fact, in our EP cover, you can see Raymond wearing the Call Me If You Get Lost t-shirt.
Oh yeah, oh my god, I forgot about that.
We dated the album, but we dated the EP cover, but it's true. It's it's really hilarious. It's hilarious. But yeah, we took a lot from Lumberjack. I wanted that like crazy abrasive start, then like, oh, slow down, like, hey, like I'm scared. Like that's kind of how it comes through. Yeah, but we like kind of took from that a little bit because I think it's like what Ray's saying. It kind of, the production kind of reflects like the theme and like the ideas and how like, so it's like it starts off crazy, like, whoa, you're thrown off immediately, and then when you get to the little interlude part, it's like you get the chance to calm down, but then there's this insane build up with the sounds that I was using, and then you get the crazy like kick drums all over there, and then yeah, and then after that it's just kind of like the two verses. This one follows no concrete structure, so like it follows no concrete structure, so afterwards like it just kind of goes after that, and it just abruptly ends. And I think that's like the genius part of it.
Yeah, this one also kind of continues the stream of consciousness theme too, with a lot of the lyricism, where it just kind of feels like almost like a freestyle type thing, you know, with like some rhythm and whatnot. But the chorus, especially with a lot of the screaming, if you can even call it a chorus, you know, is
it's a chorus.
It's something.
It's something, that's for sure. And so that part especially, I think was I think the selling point, really, because the beat structure just keeps going and it doesn't ever really stop. There's always something going on, even if Fabian's like adding certain breaks in between it, like that one part where it's like the swirling sample and whatnot, and then just sort of zips back into like the actual beat. But I think the screaming over top of the constant kick drums is just, you know, that's probably like the most intense part of it, and that was sort of like the part that like really sold it for me, because I think the verse part is like interesting and kind of technical, but the screaming part is really like the selling point.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's like the crazy part, and that's the part that's supposed to like throw people off, because there's not a whole lot of screaming in this album.
That's true.
It's like you can argue, what's it called? You can argue that like That's a Lie kind of is like that, but there's not a whole lot of screaming like as a whole. So that's like that being your introduction to like the screaming part, like the loudness. I think is really awesome. Yeah. And that's like kind of beautiful in a sense, is that like, it's kind of cool how we were able to like kind of not master that, but like affect that through and make that come through in the EP.
It's beautifully dark. That's like always the term that I like to use, is that it's like beautifully dark in a sense.
And we like channeling that. We like channeling that kind of like weird, you know. I've used this metaphor before, but like AS is kind of like it's kind of like a present that like the airport gets, so they have to scan like 7 times before they let it through, you know. But the box is really pretty and crafted with care, you know.
Interesting analogy.
But you don't understand what's going to be inside, and that's kind of like I think
that's the first time I've heard that metaphor.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I used it before, but like it's, you know, that's what AS is, and that's what Alphabet Soup will hopefully continue to be, and like you know, continue to perforate through that.
Okay.
Speaking of continuing,
yes, I was gonna say. So what's next? What's next for Alphabet Soup?
we don't want to announce anything too concrete yet. It's very much in the idea phase, in the process, but we are working on our debut album. We don't have a title for it yet. We don't have too many songs really done for it yet, but we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of concepts that we're working with. We have a lot of people that we're working with. I'm just going to reveal one right now. One of my old longtime friends from New York, Aiden, ACS1. He's a fantastic producer. He's been with me since the beginning. He believed in me when I was like 14 and, you know, didn't know anything about production, and he taught me a lot. So we're working with him. We're working with Stevie De La Cruz, who's a local artist here. He has his own production company called Blue Side Studios. We got in contact with him. He's been super gracious in helping us with this new project that we're working on. We can't give a release date, but because we don't have one. But we do know it's coming out definitely next year.
Yeah.
Well, then you did establish a deadline for yourself.
I mean,
I'm sure you're gonna stick to that.
It's a soft deadline. If the album really wants to come out in 2023, I mean, it will.
It can.
It will.
Alphabet soup, as it pleases.
But like, we do music pretty fast. We turn around music super fast. Raymond and I are constantly thinking about music.
I was surprised by how quickly this EP dropped. I was thinking it wasn't going to come out until like next year. But we got it.
We hate long rollouts.
Yeah.
We hate long rollouts.
True.
So that's why like when we say this, like we're not promising anything because we're not going to start the rollout. You will know when the rollout begins because it will be constant content from all of us.
Yeah.
This I guess you can argue this is like the kickoff, but like we're not gonna be presenting anything, any art. We're not gonna be releasing any singles, or anything like that until we have the album done and we have a majority of the work done. Because we just want to provide. We just want to make content that everyone's gonna enjoy, that we enjoy personally, and that's probably the biggest thing is we want to satisfy ourselves when we're making music.
Yeah.
That's who it's really for.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is that the both of us have just been like super busy since the EP actually dropped, dealing with a lot of stuff in our personal lives.
Our lives changed a lot after the EP.
Yeah. And so I think we've been super busy doing just like regular life stuff that has sort of come up once we dropped the EP after summer. And so whether that's school, whether that's work, whether that's, whatever we're doing right now, I think it just we just sort of got swept up in that once we looked towards starting, I think, the album in general. And so, but I think probably come this next week or two, I think this is really where we're gonna get going on it. I would say.
Yeah, we'll do the classic. We'll do the snippets. When the time comes, we'll do all the pictures. We'll release all like the awesome, because we've already been working on a ton of stuff. We have a lot of stuff like planned, up and coming, and the most important thing is that we're really excited about it. We are like beyond excited about working on the album and like making new music and getting it to people. That's like our number one thing that we want to do, is we want to put it out there, because it's no fun if it just sits on our hard drives.
That's true.
Or like in our Google Drive, more like. But already we're making a lot of choices that we didn't with AS that I think are really cool. We made we have like this Google PowerPoint slide thing, and it's just full of a bunch of pictures that me and Ray are finding inspiring or like interesting, or that's going to inform their aesthetics that are going to ultimately inform like the sonic improvements of this upcoming Untitled record. And I think that's probably like the coolest thing that we've done like most recently.
Yeah.
Other than like the people that we're working with. Some people will keep quiet about because it'll be more fun that way. But people maybe will recognize some voices. Some people might not. You might recognize people that we worked with in the past, or some of our friends. But it's going to be really our chance to branch out.
Yeah, I would say from what we have so far, I think it's going to be a really good natural progression from the EP, and I think it's really going to be so far with a lot of the ideas and concepts. I think it's just building on top of what we've already essentially established, and then not only that, but expanding on a lot of other ideas and topics that we haven't been able to tackle quite yet.
We're improving.
Yeah,
that's the cool part.
Yeah.
So we're already improving, I think.
Yeah, I think you said, because what was your thing where you said that the EP was almost like a test.
Yeah.
Right. Like the EP was almost like a test. Like, could we actually do this, and would people actually
enjoy it?
Enjoy it and listen to it.
Yes to
would we even enjoy it?
Yeah.
Too.
Exactly.
Like, that was important too. The EP, it's a test. But it's also introduction. That's how kind of we've also reasoned it out. You can read that on Bandcamp. But it's also like an introduction to like Raymond and I, and what we like and like our influences. That's why it's so heavily influenced. I mean, we do that with everything that we do. We copy stuff all the time. We take stuff. We love inspiration because we love music and movies and media so much. Raymond and I are obsessed. Yeah. Okay, Raymond and I for fun will just sit in his car and listen to music and just like talk about it and talk about like weird stuff we find online. Like
Every time I hang out with you, it's just sitting in the McDonald's parking lot
exactly.
talking about something.
Yeah, we love that though, and that's like the most interesting thing to us is talking about art. Yeah. But the second most interesting thing is making it and using the first part to do that.
Yeah,
we love being inspired.
Yeah,
and we love inspiring other people, and hopefully, we can continue to do that. I think the best compliment that I could receive is if we inspired somebody.
I agree with that. Also, the promo imagery is a slight ripoff of some of the photo shoots done by Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem.
Don't tell them. Now they know.
Now
they know everything. It's okay.
It's fine. Shout out to them though, because I'm trying to force Kendrick to release this album soon. So
we're
gonna. I need this album.
Hopefully, we scare Kendrick into releasing. His new album.
Yeah. This little band is gonna make an impact on him.
Someday, hopefully.
Someday. You never know.
Yeah. But it's already high. It's already high quality. Already higher quality. This new project.
I agree.
We don't really have that much done. I don't want to give too many exact numbers because anything could change. But we're really accepting of that fact.
Yeah.
That like things can happen, things can change, and things can be different. And we love that. We love that about this project. We enjoy working with ideas that modify us. And modify like the mediums that we're working through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was Jacob here at KKSM with Alphabet Soup, and I think we're gonna finish this off playing a couple of the songs that inspired them.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure, yeah,
it was very fun.
I enjoyed it. Well, we're gonna probably tag out and then play a couple songs that inspired them, including "Machine Gun" by Portishead. Which ones did I queue up as well? I believe 10/10 by Injury Reserve, BM by Black Midi, or BM.
It's Boom Boom Boom.
Boom Boom Boom?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how they pronounce it, Boom Boom Boom.
Okay, interesting.
Fun fact, we got in a behind-the-scenes argument about that song.
We did.
Really?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. Because we saw them live, and so we like talked about it beforehand.
And I was like, oh, by the way, guys, this song is called Boom Boom Boom. And they're like, no, it's not. And so I looked at. I showed them the interview that it came from.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.